All right, so now we're going to look at our last type of probability question. We're going to look at a case of between probability. Again, we're starting with the same normal model. So I'm going to go through and just label my z-score using my empirical rule as we have before, adding and subtracting our standard deviation. All right, what is the probability of randomly selecting a woman between 63 and 67 inches tall? All right, so 63 is going to be probably right around there. 67 is right at our first standard deviation, and we want to know the probability of selecting a person between those, so we're going to shade in the value in between these. All right, so we're looking for between 63 and 67 inches tall. Since we have two values here, we have to find two z-scores. So we're going to find a z-score for 63 and for 67. So 63 minus 64 over 3 gives us negative 1 over 3, which negative 0.33. 67 minus 64 over 3 gives us 3 over 3, which gives us 1.00. Right, so now we need to look up these values in our table. So negative 0.33. We're going to look at this. We're going to go all the way down to our row, which starts with this negative 0.3, and we want the one that corresponds to a second decimal of 3. So I'm going to follow this down this column. Move my paper up a little bit here. So we're still going down this column here, and we see a value of 0.3707. So that's going to be our first our first area that we're going to get from our first z-score. So 0.3707. Right, our other z-score, we're going to flip over to our positive side of the table, and we have 1.00. 1.00 corresponds to an area of 0.8413. Right, so now I'm going to go back to my problem and I'm going to write those two numbers down. Alright, so my area to the left of the z-score associated with 63 . 0.3707. My area to the left of the z-score associated to 67 was 0.8413. Right, and to find our area in between, we're going to subtract these two values. So our area between, and we're always going to go larger value minus smaller value. So basically we're taking the whole piece and we're subtracting out that part that's not shaded over there. And we get 0.4706. So to answer our question, we'll squeeze our probability in here down at the bottom. The probability of selecting a woman between 63 and 67 inches is about 47%. So there's our final answer for our between probability. Again, between probability, we find both of our z-scores, both of our areas associated with those, and then we subtract to find our final answer.